and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
Yo, what's up, Montana? Welcome in. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. We are coming to you live from Northern Quest Casino, Spokane, Washington, the site of the Big Sky Kickoff, the media conference that kicks off football season each year. Because of all this varying week zero type of games and the fact that there's not really traditional double-day practices that happen anymore, football seems like it comes sooner year after year, and that's the case again because we're not even out of July yet, but here we are in media days. We're excited to get into football season in full force. The Bobcats open up on Thursday. They have a media day in Bozeman, and then they're off and running for fall camp starting on Friday. The girls report on Friday. Then they got 3 days in the classroom before then they hit the practice field on Monday. So it's here, and we certainly had plenty of fun, but also plenty of really insightful conversations here in Spokane. Every team in the league brings their head coach and then an offensive and defensive standout, and we got a chance to sit down with, I don't even know the final number, but 15-plus people certainly over the last couple of days to have some really good one-on-ones. So we'll have those for you on a variety of different channels over the next couple of weeks, including today. We're going to hear from Tom Wisterschill. We had a great interview with him. Unfortunately, about half of the audio was not good enough for the radio side of things here. But we were able to salvage about 6-7 minutes of that, so we will talk about that. We'll also just talk around our conversation with the Big Sky Conference Commissioner. Samuel Kibb's going to join me. He is joining me currently. He's riding shotgun here on Nuanez Now. We'll have his insights all throughout the show, and he and I will talk Big Sky Kickoff, all conference teams, and some of the rule changes, some of the stuff we learned here this weekend. We'll also talk some of the broad storylines from around the league, and we'll also talk some NFL here today as well. So that's what's coming up. If you want to stream it, 1029ESPN.com. You can also find us on the ESPN MT app. You can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on Twitch. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. What questions do you have out of the Big Sky Kickoff Media Days? Give us a call, 406-888-1029. And more importantly, just text us. I say give us a call. You can certainly call if you'd like, and if you do, we can patch you through, put you on. I know for a lot of people, especially in the fine year of 2026, they like to text. They prefer to text. So if you'd like to text us, hit that studio line, 406-888-1029, and Hayden Smith can forward those along to us. What's up, dude? We spent a lot of time together the last couple of days. How you doing? How was your week?
It's been good, man. It's been good to talk to all these coaches, talk to all these players. The football is in the air, man. It's in the air. You can smell it. You can feel it. You can see it. You can hear it. It's a good time of year, and this media day has been more fun and more fun as I've gotten more ingratiated in the media. It's been an exciting weekend.
Well, it's a cool opportunity for us. We got a chance to grab some of the best players in the conference.
Yep.
Was there anybody that stood out to you just in terms of some of the stuff that we've learned? Because some of these guys we've interviewed a whole bunch. Taco Dell or Caden Dowling, they've been on this show and a variety of our shows a bunch of times. Eli Gilman, this is like the 8th off-season interview I did with him because we were helping him promote his camps. But some of the other guys maybe not as much, and so a couple guys that first time talking to him. So is there anybody that stood out to you or that you really enjoyed talking to or that you thought was interesting to learn from? I like Ty Pennington. I'd only talked to him one time, and I thought he was good. He's a cool customer, Northern Arizona quarterback.
It was cool to talk to Isaiah Perez and just find out that the dude has a full family. He's like a grown man. He's got a wife and kids. He's got a stepkid. Like, that was pretty interesting to hear about because obviously, you see that in college, but just like, I don't know, when you think about the aspect of him sticking around, it makes so much sense why he would stick around when you got all of that on your plate.
When we were driving over here to Spokane, we were just brainstorming, okay, who do we want to talk to, what do we want to ask him about? And I told Sammy, I said, hey, we got to get Perez because I just got to know why he stayed at Eastern Washington. Like, he started his career at BYU, so he's an FBS type of guy. He's productive, but he also plays a position that's of high need. I mean, he's an interior defensive lineman, and he has FBS size. I mean, he's 6'5", 300, and what he tells like 308 or something like that.
305, and he put on 20 pounds.
Put on 20 pounds to be able to play full time on the inside. So you look at this guy, you're like, okay, this guy was all conference, albeit honorable mention, but still he's an all conference guy. He's got size. He's got experience. He had FBS credentials before. Why is he staying at Eastern Washington? So we asked him. He's like, oh, man, that's home for me. I'm from Othello, which Othello, Washington's probably like an hour and a half from Cheney. And he's like, I got a wife. I got a 10-year-old stepkid, 2 of my own kids. Like I can't go anywhere. I'm a dad. So, but it was fun learning about his story because an intriguing guy for sure. He's not a new subject on our shows, but love talking to Josh Wood, quarterback from Idaho. He's a cool customer. I think he carries himself really, really well.
He's got a ton of confidence.
Got a ton of confidence, ton of swagger. I mean, we asked him, who's your comp? And he said, Patrick Mahomes. I was like, I love it. I love that you're just going for the best guy in the whole world right now. So,
absolutely.
No, that was good. So you were up bright and early this morning for Tom Wischerschill's address.
Yeah.
He gave sort of his State of the Union, which he does each year here. He's the commissioner of the Big Sky Conference. What were some of your big takeaways from what he said? We'll get to our conversation with him, but what he said this morning to the whole group, what were some of your takeaways?
He talked a lot about the needing federal help. He said, quote, we desperately need federal help. And, he's talking about the Protect College Sports Act and how, the legal costs are killing them. He said he's not a fan of the unlimited portal that has been going on these days in college football. The 5-for-5 rule, he talked about that. So it really seemed like a lot of, the bold points of his address was talking about how the state of college sports is currently in flux and how, needing that help from the top, from the politicians, is really, really important. Obviously, that's been a big hot-button topic in college sports and college athletics right now, and he's certainly a fan of that legislation.
He has been very bold and bullish about where he believes the Big Sky Conference stands regionally and nationally. And when he first started talking, he's been very open and he's been very gracious with his time with us all of these years. This is year 8 for Tom Wischerskill as the Big Sky commissioner. And when he first was talking about, well, I think there's no better place to be in the Big Sky. I think the Big Sky has positioned itself out west to be, one of, if not the premier leagues, in the Western United States from a Division I football perspective. When he first started saying that stuff, you're thinking, okay, of course he's saying it. He should be saying it. But also, that's just what you say. And it's just, it's just sort of politics, right?
Yeah.
His vision has come to fruition a lot more than maybe I thought. First of all, just the circumstances of it all. And I don't even know if that's anything to do with anything besides just the state of affairs in college football right now.
Yeah.
But when we looked around this room and we spent time here, a lot of great players chose to stay this time around. And those guys are still in the league. And you really do have, 3 real deal, you got 3 programs that could be semifinals contenders, and then another probably 3 to 4 programs that if things go their way, they could be in the playoffs. Idaho's the biggest swing team in the league to me. They could win. They could win 8 or 9 games and maybe win a playoff game or 2, or they could go 3-9. I really don't know. Idaho State, I think, is going to be at least good, if not really good, but is Southern Utah stuck in the playoffs in the back door or something like that, or NAU? I think that's a good spot to be in if you're the Big Sky. I've been a little bit cynical about the Big Sky and the way it's regressed from what it once was. But now I think it's on the upswing, and I think all the things that Tom Wischerskill has sort of projected, they've come true, man. Playing the After Dark games, putting them on national TV.
5 national television games.
That stuff has helped the Big Sky Conference really solidify itself as, I think, one of the best leagues in the West, especially with the Pac-12 no longer, what it once was.
Thanks. So you're saying one of the best leagues in the West with the Pac-12 and Mountain West Conference in consideration as well?
Well, I just think that all the best West Coast schools are not in they're not in Western leagues anymore.
Oregon, Washington,
they're all in the Big Ten or the ACC, right?
Yeah.
So then, to me, the top part of the new Pac-12 is still the premier level of football in the Western United States.
Yeah.
But it's not that much better than the Big Sky. And I don't think the Big Sky and the Mountain West are that much different right now.
Most coaches would tell you they're probably the same.
I mean, you got Boise State, San Diego State, Probably Colorado State, even though they haven't been that good, just because of where they're at. Utah State, like those are just a little bit of a cut above. And then, to me, there's not that much difference between Nevada, New Mexico, Wyoming.
Nope.
Montana State, North
UNLV.
Dakota State, UNLV. I mean, there's just not that much difference between these schools.
No. Money is probably the biggest difference between the schools. I would 100% agree. Another thing that the commissioner talked about that I thought was interesting, he said the Big Sky took a $30 million haircut due to settlements with the NCAA. Obviously, a lot of these kids, and there's a lot of lawsuits going on with kids trying to sue for eligibility and things like that. Not only does the NCAA feel that, but if the NCAA is losing money, then ultimately all the conferences within the NCAA are losing money, and that's something I think he wanted to address as well. Another thing that I thought was interesting that Tom Worcester talked about was there's a new tagline that they're trying to go with in the Big Sky Conference. He said, "Up here, it's different." What are your thoughts about a tagline of such? Up here, it's different.
Well, that's what you have to lean into if you're the Big Sky, because your biggest selling points now are, hey, come play at places where it matters and play at places where you can win and play at a level where you can actually win a national championship.
Another statement he made was he said, at this point in the Big Sky Conference, if you win the conference, you have a strong chance of winning the national championship.
That's right.
And that makes all the difference for him as a commissioner and for the rest of the conference.
I mean, if you are recruiting kids from out west and you're selling them a variety of different things, where out west has the combination of winning culture, winning tradition, and atmosphere that surpasses some of the best programs in the Big Sky? Like hardly
Oregon, SC.
Right. Like if you exclude those Power Fours, the answer is really nowhere.
No.
Boise State, and North Dakota State are the answer, and
North Dakota State's atmosphere ain't passing Montana and Montana State.
Exactly. So I think
the football on the field is.
Yeah.
The fans and the environment, absolutely not.
Yeah. So I think it's a good tagline for the Big Sky, and I think people are getting smart to the Big Sky and realizing just sort of the ground that it stands on is a great FCS. And not just great FCS, a great college football league. Nuanez Now July, ESPN Radio. Samuel Kim, Coulter Nuanez, joining you here through the Grizzly Disposal Studio at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. So there's a variety of rule changes, and I know that was a big part of the commissioner's speech and also some talking points here today with some of our guests as well. Joint practices was one question you asked all of the various coaches. What do they think of the ability to have joint practices? So start there, but what other rule changes do you think did you find interesting in terms of what they were talking about today?
The joint practices, everybody keeps talking about rule changes. Jog my memory on what rule changes.
Well, there's a couple tweaks to punting.
Special teams, yeah.
Yeah, they honed in some of the replay rules as well, just in terms of how long you can replay, who signals in the replay official, et cetera, et cetera. I think that stuff is kind of mundane and just quality control.
I think the most instrumental rule changes, obviously we talked about the joint practices. I think that's going to be really instrumental for a lot of these teams. But I think the biggest change that they've made is what I think it was Jordan Tripp talked about it, how the practices and OTAs, or maybe it was one of the coaches, or maybe it was Jordan Tripp that we talked to, but the practicing, how they can add more practices in the spring. They get more time with the kids, and the schedule is tweaked a little bit. I think that's going to be really, really exciting for a lot of these teams. I mean, just think about the fact that now these coaches are able to be with these players over the summer, and they get time with them over the summer. When I was in college, you couldn't spend any time with the coaches over the summer. You got spring ball, and then for the next couple of months, all you're going to be with was your strength coach. You obviously you were going to see the coaches in passing, but on the field, they couldn't really coach you until fall camp came. So I think that's a really instrumental change, and I think that's going to do a lot of good for a lot of these teams, because you think about some of these teams who do have a lot of talent turnover in the off season. Time on task. One thing Coach Houck used to always say is you get better at football by playing football.
Yep.
And a lot of these young guys just need time on task. They just need time doing it. And with those extended practices, with that extra time that they get with them, they're going to get time to do it. And they're going to get the coaching that they're going to get year-round with it.
The eligibility rule change is interesting, too. Now,
5 for 5.
Just you have 5 years, period. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing for coaches to navigate when it comes to equivalency. At getting a full roster and keeping a full roster, but also, like, what do you do with a guy if, like we heard, we'll keep this slightly vague just because it was an off-the-record conversation, but there is a player in the Big Sky Conference that suffered a season-ending injury last year that's going to cost him this year, and it just hasn't really been reported on, but he was a preseason All-American type of player, and his injury is going to impact that team. in previous years, that guy would have been able to apply for a medical or a hardship or whatever, but he's already been there. So now he's going to have to go through a huge process through the NCAA to even have a chance of getting that year back. And I'd probably say probably not going to get it back. And
you got to draw a line in the sand. I mean, they've had all this legislation and all these lawsuits coming on. At some point, the NCAA has to, and it's unfortunate for some of these kids because with the guy you're talking about, it's a really, really unfortunate situation that he got injured, and in a time where they finally decided to make the rule change. But now at this point, they have to put their foot down and say, no, we're not going to allow any of this anymore, and he's probably going to be a casualty of that.
Well, it's now 109 ESPN Radio. What else from the commissioner's address this morning did you like or did you take away?
So when he was talking to the media after the address, he mentioned how not jersey patches. Well, jersey patches. I asked him about jersey patches. Obviously, people saw that the Big 12 partnered with Monster Energy, and you can talk about how much money they got for the conference. That's not really what the question was about. My question was about, are you looking at doing something like this for the Big Sky Conference? And he mentioned how, they've talked about it. He talked about it with the coaches, but that's something where I think that could be a potential to bring in more money for some of these schools, especially some of these lower tier schools in the Big Sky Conference that don't get a ton of funding for NIL and other things like that. I think it's another revenue stream that they could bring in. We haven't seen one Big Sky school have a jersey patch so far, so I'm interested to see who's going to be the first one and what brand, what company they'll be with.
Would you think that it would be more like, would the league try to do it for sell a league-wide deal and have
That's what the question was about.
Yeah, so because that's so interesting because the league is so diverse in terms of the locations that exist in the league, right? Like if you're just selling the jerseys in Montana, like there's a pretty defined list of the people that are going to be at the table trying to get those, your Town Pumps, your Montana Knife Companies, your Providence Health Centers.
Are you saying it kind of hurts the brand if you sell it for everybody?
Well, no, I just would wonder which brand would find that. I mean, it has to be like a national type of brand, like Coca-Cola or some sort of insurance or State Farm or something like that.
Yeah,
because having a product-based business. How do you, unless you have location, unless it's like a restaurant or McDonald's or something like that?
REI.
Sure, maybe,
pertains to the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because otherwise, like a client that wants stuff in Portland and Sacramento maybe doesn't want stuff in Missoula and Bozeman, and vice versa too, right? Like, Montana Knife Company. Well, they're actually like a national company, so they would love it. But like Town Pump is in Montana, that's all they're at. You know what I mean?
But also too, like if you do something like MKC. Would Idaho want Montana on their
Exactly. That's interesting. So the jersey sponsorships is something that's being explored at least, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the cool thing about that, which some people may like this, some people don't like this. A lot of people don't like this because, where do you draw the line? But even if the conference sells a jersey sponsorship, you're still able to sell one as a school. So that leaves you with a conference patch, that leaves you with a conference jersey patch, and that leaves you with a school jersey patch. So at this point, when do you start looking like a NASCAR athlete, I think that's the fine line that people are battling with.
Well, it's now 109 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. One piece of news from earlier today that has nothing to do with football, but worth putting out there because I think this is one of interest to our listeners, especially those in western Montana. Ryan Lucier was one of the best softball players in the state 2 years ago. She was the Gatorade Player of the Year at Frenchtown High School. She had an unbelievable state tournament. It's one of the great state tournaments that I can remember following along with. She is a great pitcher, but also an excellent hitter as well. And, in 4 games at the 2025 State A tournament, she hit 3 home runs. She hit 500.
Wow.
Drew 2 walks, but then she also had 47 strikeouts in 25 innings and had a .087 ERA. She pitched a perfect game in the first game of the state tournament and then a one-hitter in the state championship game. And she also hit 2 home runs in that state title game as well.
Did they win state this past year?
They did not. So that's the bummer. So
won in 25.
Lucier was the Gatorade Player of the Year her sophomore year, and then last year she suffered a knee injury that cost her the whole season.
But they still won.
Frenchtown figured out a way to battle. I think they got 3rd. Did not win the state championship because it would have been the record. It would have been the all-time Montana high school record. It would have been their 14th state championship in softball. But anyways, Lucier is by all accounts back healthy, and she just committed to the Montana Grizzlies. So I know this is one where a lot of local people and a lot of Montana people were hoping that Stephanie Ewing took a chance on Lucier, and I think it's a good idea that they did. I mean, certainly Class A to the Division I ranks is going to be a big transition. but I know Lucher plays club softball as well, and she's played at a really high level. And I just think that she can play in the Big Sky Conference, and that's a good one. And she still has her senior year left to play. So
their head coach Eli Field does a phenomenal job, man. He is the standard at Class A softball for a reason, and he's such a humble guy. He'll never admit to it, but he does a phenomenal job, and he's been doing it for a long time.
Oh man, they're a dynasty, man. I mean, you work with Frenchtown in a certain capacity with your fundraising job, and I mean, I'll bet you Fields won like 20 trophies. That state, I mean, they've got, I think, 10 state championships under him alone, maybe even more.
Yeah.
And but they've been, if they don't win it, they're getting second or third every year too.
So they're in the conversation.
Always. So cool that a local girls get a chance to play for the Montana Grizzlies. The joint practices, back to the joint practice rule, is so interesting because we talked to a lot of people about that today. Varying opinions, right?
I feel like the vast majority of people were like for it. I feel like the really only, maybe Tom isn't necessarily for the commissioner, Tom Wishes, so maybe he isn't necessarily for the brawl.
Sure.
And, Vegan wasn't necessarily for it, but it was interesting to hear BK say, hey, what about a brawl? So to see the two coaches in the brawl, Vegan and BK, have two contrasting opinions about it, both, on either side of the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to have some sort of standard to it. Like, I personally would not really like to see joint practices between league teams.
Yeah. Like
teams in the Big Sky. But if you're Eastern Washington, you can get Central Washington to come over and, drive 100 miles and come play you. That's pretty cool. It just gets harder and harder the more rural the school is located, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have teams that of a different level in a different conference that's close by, it gets a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like if you're UC Davis, there's 10 schools that are in your vicinity that you can go play. Whereas if you're Montana or Montana State, I mean, especially if you're Montana State, you don't got anybody besides the Grizz within 200 miles of you. Mostly everybody else like 400 miles from you. So
but you got the Frontier Conference.
Yeah, see, and that's an interesting fold is, does a coach want to dabble in the Frontier? I can see the benefits of it because obviously you need your guys to be superior to the Frontier teams if you're a D1. But also, will the Frontier coaches want that? Because now they're going to get guys scouted off their roster. Like, what happens?
You're already getting guys scouted.
No,
off
it's
your
true.
roster.
It's true. But if you're Montana State and you go have a joint practice with Montana Tech, and there's two dudes that just tear it up, aren't you just like taking those guys back on the bus with you?
Maybe. But Levi Torgensen had a phenomenal season this year.
Sure.
He's still in the He's still in the Frontier Conference.
No doubt.
Could have played at FCS for sure.
Yep, no doubt. Nuanez Now July, ESPN Radio. One thing I talked about on Friday, but have not had a chance to hash it out with anybody else. This is a total non-football, but this is one of the bigger stories in sports this last week. What did you think of LeBron James making his decision and picking the Philadelphia 76ers?
I mean, we can talk about fit. The usage rate of all those players is astronomical, so what will that look like? But I think it's, if he's looking to win a championship, I think he picked the best situation. Sure, the Heat would have been an attractive spot with, Giannis and Bam, but where does the shooting come from if you have three of those guys on the floor? They all are not high-level shooters. So
Jalen Brown can shoot a little bit, but he needs to create his own shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cavaliers, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Mobley, Allen, they got a good squad, but it didn't really move me. I like the 76ers pick. Now, depth is obviously something that I'm looking at, but, I mean, they're all talented. All of them are, first-team all-NBA caliber guys. Maybe they all haven't been first-team all-NBA. I think a majority of them have. Maybe has Tyrese Maxey been first-team all-NBA? He's probably the only guy who hasn't
but I think he might have been all-NBA.
And maybe even Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown was second this year. Either way, they're all very, very talented guys, but they're, Embiid is a question mark. Obviously, LeBron, he's older. Does his health hold up? That's never been an issue for him, and hopefully it's not an issue for him this year. But, you got to consider that he's going to be 42 in December. So, what does that look like for LeBron? Jaylen Brown, for all that he is, some would say he's got some, I don't know. And that's the thing. I don't want to push these narratives of is he a good teammate? Is he a bad teammate? It's just an interesting case study, and we'll have to see how it plays out when October comes around.
It's also going to be interesting to see how those guys handle having the pressure.
Yeah. Because now you're the favorite in the East for sure.
Over the defending champion New York Knicks, but you're going to be the favorite for sure. And how do you anticipate that? How do you deal with that? And it's also just it's been since Julius Erving played for the 76ers that they were actually a favorite to do anything. They've been good, playoff team, et cetera. They have not been like the favorite to win the East.
Well, when they had Jimmy, maybe not, they weren't favorite, but they had Jimmy and what's his name?
Jimmy
Ben
Butler,
Simmons,
Ben
and
Simmons.
Embiid.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
they were,
they were there, but
Yeah.
I mean that's just sort of just where they've been at since they've had Embiid. They've been between like the third and sixth best team in the East.
You're never going to be the worst. You're never going to be the best.
And now they're just going to be favored to win the East, and every second that they don't, they're going to get rained down upon on a national level and on Philadelphia media market level too. So
you got 2 Finals MVPs. You got a regular season MVP. You got guys who have made astronomical money. Tyrese Maxey's on a big contract. Jaylen Brown's on a big contract. Embiid's on a big contract, and LeBron obviously has made some of the most money in the NBA ever. I mean, like, you guys got to do something. I think if they don't make it at least to the conference finals, it'll be a failure. I don't say they have to win a championship, but you got to make it a deep playoff run.
You definitely do. My last pet peeve, my last nitpick on this one is that all the national talk radio guys are doing the LeBron's just chasing. He's ring chasing.
And
exactly. What else is he supposed to do, right?
You just want him to sit on a team and rot. And
that's right. Like, if you're an old head that thinks Michael Jordan's better than LeBron James, that's fine. That's your opinion. And if your number one argument is that Michael Jordan has a better career legacy than LeBron James because Michael Jordan has more championships, then what is LeBron supposed to do? He's got to go get more rings to be able to level the playing field. So how is he? I mean, he has to ring chase at this point in his career.
There is nothing that LeBron, for the people that are Michael Jordan fans, which I think Michael Jordan, I would say he's the GOAT over LeBron. There's nothing that Bron can do that's going to convince any of those people otherwise.
Right.
He could win 12 championships. Nobody's going to think otherwise.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They know
if he won 10 rings, people would be like, well, but it took him twice as long. He played for 23 years.
There's nothing he can do.
He switched teams multiple times. Like, literally, they're going to be haters on him no matter what. So, I agree.
If they saw LeBron walk on water, they'd say it because he can't swim. Like, it does not matter. They are Jordan fans, which is okay. But, like, don't try to act like him switching teams, chasing a championship is why you don't like him. You already don't like him. You're just using this as another reason.
Exactly. Absolutely. Samuel Kim, Colter Nuanez live from Spokane, Washington. We are coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal has one bin recycling that can pick it up from your house. You want to make the switch or add the service, call 406-541-7171 or visit grizzlydisposal.com. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. On the other side, we hear from Tom Wistrcill, the commissioner of the Big Sky Conference. A couple thoughts from what was an insightful interview, but we only were able to play probably about 7 minutes, so still a good chunk. We'll hear from him and keep on talking Big Sky Kickoff next. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers, because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test, so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on, because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
A pair of Treasure State standouts has been named the Big Sky Conference's preseason player of the year. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Montana senior running back Eli Gilman earned preseason offensive player of the year honors after winning the conference's top offensive award last season. Gilman rushed for 1,560 yards and 16 touchdowns as a junior and enters 2026 just 396 yards and 7 touchdowns shy of Montana's career records. On the defensive side, Montana State senior safety Caden Dowler was named the Big Sky preseason defensive player of the year. The reigning defensive MVP recorded 6 interceptions last season, returning 2 of them for touchdowns. The defending FCS national champion Bobcats also dominated the preseason All-Big Sky team with a conference-high 11 selections. Senior quarterback Justin Lamson earned the nod over Montana junior Kaylee Ayayat, while Caden's twin brother Taco Dowler was recognized a wide receiver, punt returner, and all-purpose player. The rest of Montana State's preseason selections include running back Adam Jones of Missoula, offensive lineman Titan Fleischman, Burke Mastel of Red Lodge, Braden Zimmer of Billings, defensive lineman Zach Cruz of Missoula, linebacker Cole Taylor of Great Falls, defensive back Taden Gray, place kicker Miles Sandstead, and kickoff returner Jabez Woods. Montana was represented by 3 players, with senior linebacker Peyton Wing and junior defensive lineman Jake Mason joining Gilman on the preseason squad. UC Davis finished second in the conference with 7 preseason All-Big Sky selections.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Well, we battled. We stayed up too late. Sammy didn't lose any money. I didn't lose all my money. That's always a win when you're at the Big Sky Kickoff at Northern Quest Casino. Welcome back. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Jokes about the blackjack aside, it is really cool having the event here. I know there's varying opinions about Spokane, whatever. I think Spokane's just fine.
Yeah.
But Northern Quest Casino is a good venue because, you know, you're playing a little cards, but mostly you're just sitting there talking ball with a whole bunch of people who love to talk ball. We had a great time catching up with people. It's good to see them and just, you know, like a more relaxed environment, and that was one of my favorite parts about this weekend here at the Big Sky Kickoff.
Yeah, man, I just love seeing the young players, man, and just, you know, it reminds me of when I was their age, with not a lot of responsibility. Well, some of these guys have responsibilities. Isaiah Perez has a whole family. But, like, for the most part, some of these guys don't have, like, big responsibilities. And, you know, you're living the college life. And, you know, these are the best years of these guys' lives. And I just hope they really appreciate that. And I can just see not necessarily innocence, but I can just see it in their eyes that they're just, like, they're just enjoying life, man, and I just love that. And then, like you mentioned, like, talking to the coaches, like, I just can't reiterate enough how talking to Coach Plow last night off the record just about ball was just so good, and Jordan Tripp being there giving his 2 cents about the game, and just 2 guys who really know ball at a very high level. I was just standing there just in awe, just like, man, like the way they describe the game, the way they talk about it, like I'm just mesmerized, man, and I'm just so excited that we get to watch football in like 3 or 4 weeks, man. It's going to be the best.
It's going to be the best. Samuel Kim joining me, Colter Nuanez. Quick prep extra, and then we'll come back to football because the American Legion state balance, it's like actually the Montana and Alberta championship because the Lethbridge has a team. That got underway 2 days ago. So here's an update from what went down on day one. This is courtesy of 406 MT Sports. The Billings Royals got things off in a little bit of an upset fashion. They were the 7th seed coming in, but they drubbed the 2nd-seeded Lethbridge Elks. Lethbridge was 1 out away from being the number 1 seed, but they lost on a walk-off in extra innings to the Missoula Mavericks, and that gave the Mavs the number 1 seed. But Lethbridge still is the host, as a predetermined host for this tournament, and one of the favorites coming in. But Billings beat up on them. The Royals beat them 10-2. So great start for the Royals. Mavs did not have any sort of an upset bid. And they, in fact, got a great outing from Coulter Nico Larson, who is a great – Owen Felton had a 2-run home run, and Coulter Nico Larson had a run-scoring double. And Andrew Richardson tossed 6.1 shutout innings, and the Mavs won 3-0 over the Kalispell Lakers.
Do the Mavs go back to back to back?
The Mavs are trying to become the first three-peat champion in Montana American Legion baseball since the Helena Senators in the early 2000s.
Sheesh.
That would be only the second time ever. There's only been one three-peat ever in Montana. The Mavs have gone back-to-back 4 different times with Brett Hathaway as their manager, but they've never three-peated. So that's a good start for the top-seeded Mavs with a nice shutout win over the Kalispell Lakers. Other scores from yesterday: Bozeman Bucks beat the Great Falls Chargers 5-1. The Billings Scarlets win a pitcher's duel 2-1 over the Helena Senators. So we'll keep you updated if we find any scores here today. But a couple teams off to some good starts and a lot of good pitching so far at the American Legion tournament up there in Lethbridge. Prep Extra probably presented in part by Farmers State Bank. Farmers State Bank has been enriching the lives of Montanans since 1907. The Big Sky Conference Commissioner, Tom Wistershill, gave his sort of State of the Union address earlier this morning. We broke that one down a little bit. Then he also came and sat with us. Unfortunately, we had a little mic reverb action. We're going to try to figure out a way to edit this a little bit better when I get back to the studios in Missoula. But I was able to save at least about half of the sit-down that we had with Tom Wistershill. So myself, Samuel Kim, and Tom talked about sort of the evolution of college football, the league, but then we also got into North Dakota State not being in the football championship subdivision, then moving on to the Mountain West. And then what's that mean for the Big Sky Conference and also sort of the standing that the Big Sky Conference has right now as not only the best league in the country, but the league that the defending national champs from Montana State occupy. So that's what we pick up here with Tom Wistershill, Commissioner of the Big Sky Conference.
The NDSU moving to the Mountain West Conference, I feel like the conversation about Montana State is getting louder and louder. What is your role in those conversations, and what is your thought about that?
So happy for North Dakota State. I think it's something they wanted. I also think they've felt some pressure to make the move.
Yeah.
Good for them. My job as commissioner is to make sure our schools have all the information they can get.
Yep.
And I speak frequently with our ADs and presidents about it. Every meeting I put it on the agenda. I was on our ADs meeting agenda yesterday. We have presidents meetings coming up here soon. I'll be talking about it again, which is there are great things about being FBS.
Absolutely.
And there's also some downsides to it as well. And so I just want to make sure their eyes are wide open. You know, I spent 6 years as a G6 AD, and there's some cool things. But there's some costs that go into it, you know, where it's like we might get some more media rights. But if we got to double our coach pay and then quadruple our NIL amount just to get players that we want to compete in this conference, wait a minute, we didn't make any money at all.
Right.
What are we doing? And, oh, by the way, all those playoff games that I've talked to you guys on the sideline about in the state of Montana, those all go away.
Yeah, right.
And those are some of the best Saturdays of football I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Are being on the sideline chatting with you guys for those games, right? So if those disappear, what do you replace them with? Trying to go to a bowl game in El Paso, you know?
Right.
What if the team's 6-6? What if the team's 7-5? And then 7-5 again, and you're going to bowl games, but are the fans like, wait a minute, this is it?
Yeah, right.
And so I I tried. I'm very biased. Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm very biased because I believe this level is best for everybody in this room because we can compete for that trophy that we can see right over there, right?
Yeah.
And if you go FBS, you're not competing for a trophy, a national championship trophy. No one in that G6 is going to win. The national championship. It ain't happening, right?
That's a bold statement.
And so I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. Not in this portal era.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
all the money,
all those best players. I don't blame them.
Yeah, right.
I do the same thing. And so that goes away. And so it's those unintended consequences of your decisions. Short term can look really good. Long term, you got to play it out. What do we want to be? What do we look like? And there's something to be said. I'll leave it with this. There's something to be said for fans that care so much about a program to have an opportunity to play for a national championship. And you guys saw it in Nashville. When you win that national championship, you can't replace that.
Yeah.
And conference championships are great. I love that we could give out a conference trophy, but only so many teams can ever say they were a national champion.
Absolutely.
And I love the fact that our teams have that opportunity.
Well, what do you think of just sort of the proof of concept now? Because you do have a national champion now in the league. I think that not only raises the bar for everybody in this room, but I also think it makes it a real goal. Like, it's not just, we could, someone did. So I think that influences the mentality of all 13 of these football coaches and teams.
No doubt, 100%. I've talked about it since I got here, that we're the best, deepest conference in the country. But you need to win the Natty to put the nail on it.
To really stamp it.
Or the proof of concept,
Yeah.
as he said. I was trying to come up with the right word. I like proof of concept. It's, in some ways, it's kind of like, you can talk the talk, but now you walk the walk.
Absolutely.
Right? So, we've had plenty of teams that could have won a national title over the last 8 years. It didn't happen for whatever reason. Credit to North Dakota State in a lot of those years. They were the best team. I still feel like we were the best conference, top to bottom,
sure,
and the hardest conference to get through, and sent the most teams to the playoffs a lot of years. So now I think people know that. To your point, you knew that if you were one of the best teams, you had a chance.
Yeah.
Now, it's true. If you can win the conference, you might be the favorite for the national championship now. And so we'll see what happens. To me, we've got great teams in this league. But some of them are also an injury or two away from those dreams disappearing quickly.
Absolutely.
So, we've had teams that stayed healthy last year, and that's exciting. And we'll see what happens. But to me, as I look at our teams, and back to your original point of the players that are back, this might be the best the conference going into it has looked in my 8 years here.
Yeah.
You talked about the quarterback play, which obviously is so key. There's no chance that we've had better quarterback play going into the season than we do
collectively, right?
Collectively,
yeah,
absolutely. And some of them have never played a snap in the Big Sky, right? Like I'm looking at Devin Brown out there for Weber State. He was over there somewhere earlier. Played a lot of football in his life.
Looks the part.
And he looks the part.
You can understand why he went to Ohio State when you walk next to him.
And playing for his high school coach, and obviously they know the offense well. But he's just, he's not even a highly preseason ranked quarterback in our league compared to these others. So, so we'll see. But I think it's going to be a great year.
Well, is that what's on ESPN Radio? Tom Wishel Show, the commissioner of the Big Sky Conference. We got plenty to get through, and I know he's got some other stuff to do as well. So we'll let you go, Tom. But thanks so much, and we appreciate it all the time.
Well, I appreciate what you two do for the Big Sky, and obviously in the state of Montana, and we're very fortunate to have people that care deeply about the Grizz and the Cats up there and love the Big Sky, and always voice their displeasure to me about the officiating when I'm up there. I'm anxious to hear some yelling in Bozeman and Missoula about how great the officials did during the game. I'm waiting for a first, and I'll have a free lunch ticket and a cold beer for the first Grizz or Cat fan that does that. Thanks, guys. Have a good time.
Always fun catching up with the commish. Tom Wishel here On to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Take a break, come back. We got a great listener question that just came in. Keep them coming, 406-888-1029. But they want to know about the best running backs we've seen. We were talking all-time great running backs at the NFL level last week because it was Walter Payton's birthday last Friday, so we were doing a little Today in Sports History. Well, somebody wants to know who are the top 5 running backs that I've seen in my career. We'll also have Sammy fill it in a little bit, too. He's been doing this for a couple years, but obviously played in the Big Sky, so saw some guys from that perspective. But this will be year 20 for me covering the Big Sky Conference, so we will talk about some of my favorite and most dominant running backs I've seen at the FCS level on the other side. So don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. It's Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Colter Nuanez coming to you from Northern Quest Casino in Spokane, site of the Big Sky Kickoff. But as always, we're coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal is locally owned and veteran-owned. The only Bears that should be in your garbage. Samuel Kim riding shotgun with me here as we sort of wrap up Media Days. We're going to have a bunch of stuff out of this Coming up over the next several weeks, we'll hear from both the head coaches from the Montana schools on Wednesday. We're going to play that as our ESPN Roundtable. It's going to be a supersized ESPN Roundtable because we got about 25 minutes with Brett Vigen and got about 20 minutes with Bobby Kennedy. And so certainly that'll be basically the formative part of the second hour of Wednesday's show. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll also have Eli Gilman from Montana and Caden Dallard, Taco Dallard from Montana State. Probably next week, I'd say. Maybe later on this week. We'll see. But there's been a ton of stuff coming out of this. Other Big Sky Conference figures as well. So certainly been a valuable and fun, worthwhile trip for us here to Spokane. So good text from our listeners. You want to be a part of the show, you always can. 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Shoot us a text, and Hayden can send it my way. Last week, it was Walter Payton's birthday. So we were talking about some of the best running backs in NFL history. And certainly Walter Payton was one. Jim Brown has to be in the conversation. Barry Sanders has to be in the conversation. Emmitt Smith has to be in the conversation. Probably Adrian Peterson amongst the modern guys has to be in the conversation as well. But somebody texted in and asked, who are the top 5 running backs you've seen play in person? It's a really interesting one. We don't have to necessarily do 5, but who's the number one that came to your mind? Like who's the best guy you've seen in person?
Oh gosh, I don't think I've seen any necessarily great backs in person. Obviously, I've seen Eli
Gilman for sure.
Marcus Knight was good. I don't know. I mean, he's really good, but I don't know if I call him great. We only saw one season of Marcus Knight.
And Isaiah Fonte is the all-time league rusher of the history of Montana State.
Eli Gilman, that I've seen in person, is probably the greatest running back I've seen in person. I just don't have a big sample size of guys I've seen in person.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. The number one guy that came to mind for me, we were telling stories about this at breakfast a couple days ago, was Zach Zenner from South Dakota State. Zach Zenner had 2,000-plus yards rushing 3 years in a row. He rushed for over 7,000 yards at South Dakota State, and then he went on and played in the NFL for a handful of years for the Detroit Lions. He's one of the most prolific and sort of surefire guys. I only saw Zenner in person probably 5 times, but I watched him rush for over 200 yards every time. He was great vision, great acceleration, and he's kind of just had that it factor. I mean, he was like a little bit bigger, a little bit faster version of Chase Reynolds from when Chase back in the day was one of the great players for one of the great running backs in Grizz history.
Yeah.
Zenner was certainly one of the first guys that popped to my mind. I know that this question is probably in the spirit of FCS guys, but I've seen some really good ones during the crossover games, like when teams have played up. You know what I mean? When they've played big time programs. Trying to think. University of Utah had an unbelievable running back when the Cats played down there in 2011.
Yeah.
Texas A&M, when the Cats played Texas A&M, they had an elite running back for sure.
They went all the way to College Station?
Yeah.
Wow.
The Cats used to play FBS games down in Texas all the time because they recruited down there so much.
Yeah, right.
So they would always play at SMU or at A&M, or they played Texas Tech twice, actually.
Love it.
But when it comes, let's just keep for the sake of the question and the sake of the conversation, I'll keep it at FCS. Miguel Masonette from Stony Brook was an unbelievable player. He had 1,900 yards rushing his senior year. They played against the Cats in Bozeman in 2012. Tim Flanders from Sam Houston State. He's a guy that went on to the NFL. He was an elite talent for sure. He kind of he's like a poor man's Barry Sanders, but that's what he reminded me of.
Wasn't there a Richmond guy?
Richmond had Josh Vaughn when they beat Montana. He was a good back for sure. He went to the NFL for a brief moment in time. I mean, honestly, the answer when it comes to guys that we've directly covered is Lex Hilliard for Montana. I mean, to me, he's the best. Eli Gilman's the only guy that's been in the conversation. I love Chase Reynolds. He's a friend of mine. But and Chase was outstanding as well. Johansi Humphreys was outstanding as well. But to me, it's Lex Hilliard and Eli Gilman are the two guys that are in the argument for the greatest.
I see a lot of people in Grizz circles talk about Johansi.
Yeah, Johansi was great. Here's the question you could never answer. Johansi had by far the best offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, the best offensive line in Grizz history was the offensive line he ran behind.
If Lex and Eli had that, what would they do?
That's not to take anything away from the offensive lines that Lex Hilliard ran behind, because they were also very good. But the line that Humphrey ran behind was
special.
Was special. It was certainly special. So, But then that also goes in the Ifanse conversation. Ifanse was one of the great running backs the Cats have ever had, and he deserves all the credit. But he also played behind an offensive line that had 2 or 3 All-Americans on it every single year as well. So, other guys in the Big Sky, Zach Bauman from Northern Arizona. He was a 4-time 1,000-yard rusher.
Any Cal Poly
at
guys?
NAU. Joe Prothro is the best fullback, no question.
Yeah.
He was great. Trevin Smith at Weber State was very good. He was a 2-time All-American there. Rest in peace to Trevin Smith. He died way too young. Jesse Chapman at Eastern Washington. I believe he still has the single-season record in the Big Sky Conference. He rushed for over 2,000 yards. Portland State, Charles Dunn at Portland State was absolutely nasty.
Man, you just spit these names out.
He had the single game rushing record. He rushed for he's second at all time. It was the kid from Sac State, Joe Roberts, had the single game rushing record. All those guys, those are the type of guys that just don't come to the Big Sky Conference anymore. Like those dudes they just went there because they got under recruited and they didn't want to transfer because they didn't want to sit out. Like that dude, like Charles Dunn at Portland State, like he would just play at Portland State and rush for 1,900 yards and just go to Oregon State now,
Oregon,
right? Yeah. Either way, they just be on and up and out. So, no, there's been a lot of great ones. It's funny though because like all those guys are all really really good, but they pale in comparison to like if you were to ask me who are some of the best DBs you've covered, who are some of the best receivers you've covered, who are some of the best defensive linemen you covered. Like every single one of those guys I just named were all outstanding college running backs, but very few of them were anything more than just sort of core special teams guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
But then you talk about like some of the other positions. I mean,
Cooper Kupp.
Like guys like Cooper Kupp at wide receiver, or Kendrick Bourne, or guys like Tremaine Johnson or Teron Johnson at defensive back. Guys like Croy Bierman or Jared Allen. Defense. I mean, these guys. Jared Allen's a first team Hall of Famer, like first ballot Hall of Famer. So, that's a different level. Like, the running backs have been really good for sure, but I mean, Jared Allen, when you would watch him at Idaho State, you're like, how did this happen?
Like, how did he get there?
Why is he here?
Yeah.
Like, how did everybody miss on him?
He stayed his whole career?
Yeah, and he would have played everywhere.
We talked about Caden Ellis the other night, too.
Yeah, Caden Ellis at Idaho. That made more sense, though, because his dad was a coach at Idaho, so he wanted to stay there because his dad and his brothers were there, and, like, that's family. Like, you're watching Jared Allen, you're like, okay, how did everybody from Boise State to BYU to Oregon miss on this guy? Like, how?
From Idaho, too?
I mean, he's 6'6", 275 pounds, and he's a freak. Like, it was inexplicable how he ever ended up at Idaho State.
How many sacks was he averaging a year?
Well, his senior year, he won the Buck, and he had 17 sacks. So, and he was the all-time sack leader in Big Sky Conference history until James Cowser broke the record at Southern Utah. So,
wow.
Those guys were next level. And again, you don't really know, but like, would Jared Allen have ever ended up at Idaho State if he came out now?
No.
And if he did, would he have stayed there?
No.
I don't know. I don't.
The money is too much at this point.
Yeah, especially
and his talent is too much.
Well, and especially for the position that you play too, right? It's a different.
Think about Jared Verse.
Exactly.
At Albany, he went to Florida State, was a first-round draft pick.
Top 10 pick, and now he's going to be stuck in Cleveland, wallowing in his own misery forever and ever and ever. Keep those texts coming in, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. And if you send us a good one, we'll get you on the show, and also maybe we'll find a little bonus prize for you. But either way, keep those texts coming in, 406-888-1029. Hour one in the books, hour two coming your way. We're going to talk some more Big Sky kickoff, then some NFL, then some more Big Sky kickoff. Football's here, baby. We'll see you on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
In honor of our great nation's 250th anniversary, Mattress Firm is having its biggest 4th of July sale ever. The entire lineup of top-rated mattress brands are on sale with prices starting at $149 up to top-of-the-line mattresses with lifetime warranties. Get the sleep you deserve with payments starting at $39 a month. Mattress Firm has pillows, sheets, adjustable bases, all on sale too during their biggest 4th of July sale ever. Locally owned and nationally known Mattress Firm.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
KKVU HD3 Stevensville and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
A pair of Treasure State standouts has been named the Big Sky Conference's preseason player of the year. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Montana senior running back Eli Gilman earned preseason offensive player of the year honors after winning the conference's top offensive award last season. Gilman rushed for 1,560 yards and 16 touchdowns as a junior and enters 2026 just 396 yards and 7 touchdowns shy of Montana's career records. On the defensive side, Montana State senior safety Caden Dowler was named the Big Sky preseason defensive player of the year. The reigning defensive MVP recorded 6 interceptions last season, returning 2 of them for touchdowns. The defending FCS national champion Bobcats also dominated the preseason All-Big Sky team with a conference-high 11 selections. Senior quarterback Justin Lamson earned the nod over Montana junior Kaylee Ayayat, while Caden's twin brother Taco Dowler was recognized as a wide receiver, punt returner, and all-purpose player. The rest of Montana State's preseason selections include running back Adam Jones of Missoula, offensive lineman Titan Fleischman, Burke Mastow of Red Lodge, Braden Zimmer of Billings, defensive lineman Zach Cruz of Missoula, linebacker Cole Taylor of Great Falls, defensive back Taden Gray, place kicker Miles Sandstead, and kickoff returner Jabez Woods. Montana was represented by 3 players, with senior linebacker Peyton Wing and junior defensive lineman Jake Mason joining Gilman on the preseason squad. UC Davis finished second in the conference with 7 preseason All-Big Sky selections.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
What's up, Montana? Welcome back. It's Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez, Samuel Kim coming to you from the Northern Quest Casino in Spokane, Washington. Big Sky kickoff. Fun and whirlwind last couple of days here in Spokane. If you hear a couple background noises, we're still in the banquet room and they're getting all torn down, but we're about to be in about an hour we'll be on the road home. So appreciate you for hanging out with us. If you missed anything in the show, we've been talking all things Big Sky kickoff from Tom Wistershill, the commissioner of the Big Sky Conference. We also talked just about the commissioner's address this morning. We talked some retrospective stuff, some memories, And we also talked a little prep sports from high school baseball and high school softball level in the state of Montana as well. All that on the Nuanez Now podcast, available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. If you want to stream it, you always can. 1029ESPN.com. You can also find us on the ESPN MT app. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. And shoot us a text. Let us know what you want us to talk about. All right, all conference teams came out. 11 nominees for Montana State, 3 for the Grizz. UC Davis came in with 7. Idaho, only 1, and a special teams guy. So that's certainly indicative of sort of the tough year that Idaho had a year ago. From the state of Montana perspective, University of Montana running back Eli Gilman, the preseason offensive player of the year. Caden Dowler, the senior safety for Montana State, the preseason defensive player of the year. So certainly a lot of love for the Montana schools. Bradley, though, is there anybody you thought got left off? Was anybody snubbed? I don't know if there really was anybody that you could consider being a snub.
Maybe one person I could point to. They only picked one quarterback, and I voted for Justin Lance, and I think that's fair. The running back position may be potentially Jordan Fisher, 1,100-yard rusher at UC Davis. Yep. Phenomenal running back. He's a younger guy. I respect them putting – I think him and Adam Jones are actually the same age. Adam's going to be a
junior.
Junior, yeah. Yep. So as well as Jordan Fisher, he's going to be a junior this year as well. I have no problem with them putting Adam Jones on there. I voted for Adam Jones as well. But Jordan Fisher, if I potentially could see anybody, maybe Jordan Fisher. From the receiver position, I certainly was surprised to see Chaden James on there.
Yeah, Chaden James, for those haven't followed along, Idaho State, left Idaho State, went to 2 different other places. And
Fresno, Incarnate Word.
And they came back to Idaho State.
Back. I get the talent. He's obviously talented. We all know what he can do at the Big Sky level, but he hasn't done that the last 2 seasons. Regardless of what the circumstances have been, he didn't do what he did in 2023 at Idaho State at those previous spots. So I was a little surprised to see that. Obviously, Brooks Davis is standing there, looking at you, and, that's obviously somebody I would have thought maybe would have been on there.
So I voted for Brooks Davis.
Yeah. So, that. But outside of that.
Taco Dowler and Samuel Batu, those 2 were slam dunks. But I voted for Davis because I just think, James is a good player, and he was an all-league player when he was in the Big Sky. He was just not in the Big Sky the last couple of years, so I just gave the nod to Davis. Davis had a great freshman year, and I think he has a chance to be a superstar.
Exactly. I 100% agree. Outside of that, I don't have any other gripes. I like the picks. I like everybody else they had on here. They got Rex Connors on here. I agree with that. They got Porter Connors on here. I agree with that. Peyton Wing. Zach Cruz. Probably the D-line position was the one I was kind of questioning. But, Jake Mason, Isaiah Perez, Bronson Childs, Zach Cruz, Ezra Ekuban. It's interesting because we had Ebukam like 5-10 years ago. Now it's Ekuban. It's a little opposite. But, I have no problem with any of the picks on there.
Yeah, defensive line was the hardest position to vote for. Yeah. There was just very few defensive linemen returning in the conference.
Yeah.
Zach Cruz is one of the most recognizable names, and he wasn't even a full-time starter last year at Montana State. Certainly the most productive of those guys. I think he had 6.5, 7.5 sacks, something like that last year. But that was it as sort of as the third D lineman or defensive end in that system behind guys like Hunter Parsons and Kenneth Iden. So he has a chance to have some elevated numbers for sure. I think he's a really talented guy. But it's just interesting to be preseason all-conference when you've never actually been a full-time starter at your school. But he would have probably a better resume than most of the rest of the defensive linemen, certainly. Bronson Childs is a guy that's been around a little bit. And Isaiah Perez was a proven player. I thought he was surefire.
Yeah.
But then everybody else, you're kind of just piecing it together. Half the nominees were transfers. Mm-hmm. So, I voted for Jake Mason, even though he was not really even a full-time starter last year either. And he's going to have a role change at Montana.
Yeah.
Probably playing a little bit different of a spot than what he was playing the last 2 years. But I still voted for him just because, that guy's played in the Big Sky. He's made plays in Big Sky games, where some of these other guys, okay, sure, you came from Utah State or UNLV or wherever you transferred from.
I got to see it first.
I got to see you play in the Big Sky Conference before I can give you my vote. Last thing for you here, and then we're going to talk some NFL and take this home with some storylines from around the league. But was there any team, after spending time around them this week, that you think are going to be better than what you thought coming into this conference this weekend?
Man, I feel like I've been bloviating about this guy all week, but Tim Plow, man, I don't know.
UC Davis. That's the answer, right? Idaho State has a lot of hype coming by their standards. They have a lot of hype.
Yeah,
and they certainly got a lot of attention here this weekend. I'm a little bit lukewarm on Idaho State. Idaho, another team that, okay, which one are they going to be? Are they going to be a quarterfinal team, or are they going to be a not make the playoffs team? I'm also lukewarm on Idaho. NAU, I'm kind of lukewarm on NAU. Davis, after looking at their schedule and talking to Tim Blau and listening to his vision and all that, I'm like, okay, that team actually deserves to be in the conversation as the conference champion, not just a playoff contender.
After listening to him talk, Coulter, he understands the narrative and he didn't necessarily address the narrative, but he kind of did without addressing. Like, he understands that, like, they've been getting hit with that quarterfinal ceiling.
Yep.
He said, how can we break through? And he's starting to have those conversations and talk with the language like, okay, we need to break through that point and get over the top. I love the way he's talking. Obviously, now it's getting the message across to your team, and we will see how he's able to do that this year.
Well, in an effort to stay on time, producers want us to get out a little bit early, come back. We'll talk some NFL and some Big Sky kickoff and just a whole bunch of football now that football is here. Appreciate you for hanging with us. Live from Spokane, Washington, we are coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal has one bin recycling. They can pick it up from your house twice a month. Don't waste your time dragging it all over town. It's messy. It's a pain. Let Grizzly Disposal pick it up for you. If you want to add one bin recycling or make the switch to Grizzly Disposal or both, call 406-541-7171 or visit grizzlydisposal.com. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage. Back on the other side, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Is a will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
ESPN
Georgia State standouts, has been named the Big Sky Conference's preseason player of the year. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Montana senior running back Eli Gilman earned preseason offensive player of the year honors after winning the conference's top offensive award last season. Gilman rushed for 1,560 yards and 16 touchdowns as a junior and enters 2026 just 396 yards and 7 touchdowns shy of Montana's career records. On the defensive side, Montana State senior safety Caden Dowler was named the Big Sky preseason defensive player of the year. The reigning defensive MVP recorded 6 interceptions last season, returning 2 of them for touchdowns. The defending FCS national champion Bobcats also dominated the preseason All-Big Sky team with a conference-high 11 selections. Senior quarterback Justin Lamson earned the nod over Montana junior Kaylee Ayayat, while Caden's twin brother Taco Dowler was recognized as wide receiver, punt returner, and all-purpose player. The rest of Montana State's preseason selections include running back Adam Jones of Missoula, offensive lineman Titan Fleischman, Burke Mastel of Red Lodge, Braden Zimmer of Billings, defensive lineman Zach Cruz of Missoula, linebacker Cole Taylor of Great Falls, defensive back Taden Gray, place kicker Miles Sandstead, and kickoff returner Jabez Woods. Montana was represented by 3 players, with senior linebacker Peyton Wing and junior defensive lineman Jake Mason joining Gilman on the preseason squad. UC Davis finished second in the conference with 7 preseason All-Big Sky selections.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. 129 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you from the Big Sky Kickoff here in Spokane, Washington. Samuel Kim, Ryan Shaka with me for the duration of this. It's been a fun weekend. We got an unbelievable amount of work done, so we got a lot of stuff coming your way here the next several weeks, but it's certainly been fun. If you missed anything in the first hour of the show, Sammy got up bright and early, went to the commissioner's address, and got some stuff from Tom Wisserschild. And the commissioner of the Big Sky Conference was kind enough to sit down with us for about 20 minutes. We also talked about some all-league stuff and some all-league list, maybe snubs or lack thereof. I thought that the all-league list was pretty easy to define this year. That's all in the first hour. You can find it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. We sit here at Northern Quest Casino, but we are coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes for your construction project. They can get them to you within 24 hours. Don't wait days or even weeks. Grizzly Disposal has them. They can get them to you quick. Give them a call, 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Okay, a couple of Big Sky questions, and then we'll talk NFL here off the top of the second hour. We'll also have some big storylines for you coming out of the Big Sky Kickoff as well later on this hour, too. But one thing I thought was really interesting, Jordan Tripp was talking about this with us. We did a hit with the Missoula Big Sky alum, who's also a University of Montana alum.
Great conversation.
And now he's with Scripps Sports. But he was mentioning, we asked him, he's been just doing the media stuff for just 2 years now. But I asked him what maybe surprised him. And he said the openness of the coaches and their sort of willingness to talk about scheme, especially some of the young offensive coaches in the Big Sky Conference. So my question for you, though, is there is so much varying styles right now of offense in the Big Sky. If you were a coach, you're an offensive guy, you're a receiver. If you were a coach, what style do you think you would try to employ? What style do you think would be the most effective in the Big Sky Conference right now?
Man, it's so hard because effective and what I like is two different things.
Right.
I think the Sturbick vegan system is the most you should try to do what Sturbick and vegan do.
What do you have built it around that?
Well, but ultimately, at least I feel like this is how Vegan has wanted his teams to play. It's geared around the run game.
First and foremost, run the ball.
First and foremost, run the ball. It's built behind the offensive line. If you can't run the ball, you can't do anything. Now, we saw last year they threw the ball significantly more than
they did.
They had in previous years. I think that's because Sturbick, I think, came from a system where he passed more than he ran.
No question.
And they passed it a ton last year, but they also had a really good quarterback who could do that. Now, what I like... I like a Tim Plow system.
Coming, right?
I like the Tim Plow system. The West Coast, like it's West Coast and its principles. He might veer off of that a little bit, but West Coast at its core, I really like that. A lot of motion, trying to move the guys around. You're looking for matchups in the offense. Like I just really like what Tim Plow does. But if you're talking about most effective, now the Montana State way of doing things can be most effective, but also you need a good offensive line.
That's right.
A good running back.
That's right. Multiple good running backs.
Multiple good running backs, and above average quarterback. You can't just. I mean, now.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's maybe something that may be interchangeable. Justin Lamson is not an average quarterback, but in a system like that, you may be able to have a guy who isn't necessarily the greatest thrower or greatest runner, but he just manages the game, because at the end of the day, we need you to make about 4 to 5 really good throws a game, but the run game's going to hold it down for you. But most effective, the vegan Sturbic system. What I like the most is the Tim Plow system.
Well, and so much of this too is where are you at?
Yeah.
And who can you get?
Yep.
Like Cody Hawkins, Idaho State head coach, said this on this show last season. He said, people think of me as a spread guy. He's like, I'm not a spread guy. I'm a pro style guy. I'm a West Coast offense guy.
Yeah.
He's like, at UC Davis, when I was the OC, we had the best tight end in the league multiple times in a row. I mean, they had 3 different guys that were first-team all-conference tight ends at UC Davis. But he said,
get big boys at Idaho State.
He said at Idaho State, if I'm going to recruit tight ends, I'm going to get the 17th best guy on my board, because all the best guys are going to Montana State, and all the next best guys are going to Montana, and then some of the other guys are going to go to Portland State and UC Davis and Idaho, and he's like, so I'm going to get the last good tight end. So he's like, I'd rather just go get a slot. So I can tell them, hey, Shadon James, we're going to throw you the ball 11 times a game.
Yep.
And then you can get that guy. So sometimes it's what you can get too. So. I love the way Plow sort of forms his offense around his personnel as well. I think that's really smart. I think that's why, I think a lot of coaches would be in a slight panic having lost the National Freshman of the Year in Caden Pinnock.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think Plow is, because he's already proven that he can lose a great quarterback and have another one. I mean, he lost Jake Mayer. He had Miles Hastings. He lost Miles Hastings. He had Caden Pinnock.
Yeah.
So they've just always had a good quarterback. So I think that gives him a lot of calm.
And that's why I have a strong belief in Tim Plow and UC Davis this year. Although we don't know who that guy is going to be, how many times have we not known who that guy is going to be, and they still have been good offensively?
You all know the other offense that I love, and sometimes it's going to be so interesting if the sort of the identity of the program evolves because there's a new identity at head coach, but it's Montana.
Man,
it's Montana, right?
Man.
But the offense has it got a ton of credit last year because
I'd be a homer if I said that.
But I mean, just from a diversification standpoint and their ability to put pressure on defenses, vertically, horizontally, with the run game, in the pass game, how much different stuff that they run.
And they haven't necessarily had a dominant offensive line.
No, right. But that's what makes the system brilliant too, though, right? Because they've actually been able to be incredibly productive without having a dominant offensive line.
And their running back has gone for over 1,000 yards back-to-back seasons.
Right. So exactly. So I really like what Montana does on offense. I actually really liked what Portland State did on offense. They just were lacking the Jimmies and the Joes.
Absolutely. I mean,
Barnum is a great play caller, and he's got creative stuff. They run different packages. I'm so interested to see what Idaho does on offense this year, because Josh Wood's a game changer, their quarterback. But I thought they completely lacked an identity on offense last year.
Yeah, right.
They had such a defined identity under Coach Eck.
Oh, yeah.
It was
ball control,
let your quarterback keep stuff alive, don't turn it over, win the possession game, win the time of possession.
They're not going to get the ball enough to beat us.
Exactly. And if they do, we're going to get the ball last, so we'll still figure out a way to win by 2 or 3 or whatever.
Absolutely.
So, but last year it was what is it that you guys do besides just snap the ball to Wood and let him run around and create stuff, which is not a bad offense, but
Absolutely.
I just want to see a little bit more identity out of Idaho offensively.
Yeah, I think Ian Shoemaker will bring some of that. Obviously, we know what he's done. I just think back to Eric Berrier, what he's able to do with Eric Berrier. We all saw Walter Payton Award winner, Jerry Rice Award, just all the accolades you could think of. Eric Berrier did it, and Ian Shoemaker had something to do with that as well. So I'm excited to see how that plays out for Joshua Wood.
Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Samuel Kim, Colter Nuanez coming to you from the Big Sky Kickoff here in Spokane, Washington. Okay, one other Big Sky question, then we'll do a little NFL buy-sell. Which coach were you most impressed with this week? We only quote unquote only. We only interviewed 5 of the guys on the record.
Yeah.
But we got to hang out with a bunch of them. We had a great conversation with Cody Hawkins. He's such a great interview. He was kind of one of the stars of the show today, so we didn't get a chance to really get him because there was a line at his table. But was there anybody that maybe surprised you or that stuck out?
We've already been talking about him, but Tim Plow, man, I'm just really impressed with him and the way he does things. And it wasn't so much our interview that we did on air, but obviously you remember the conversation we had off air with Tripp last night, Jordan Tripp. And just the way he's very, like what Jordan was saying, the way he was able to get very vulnerable and just, kind of talk about how he sees some of the other top players in the league and how they game plan against him and how, just how I just love ball talk, and to hear him talk ball at like a PhD level really gets me going. And I just absolutely love to hear him break down the game and see how he sees the game and see how he sees some of the top players in the league and how he goes about thinking about game planning against these guys and just being very vulnerable with like, hey man, this guy, we thought we could do this with him, we should have done this with him, ultimately we couldn't get it done. And I don't know, I just really love that type of talk, and he impressed me.
No doubt. And Plow's been a guy I've been close with for a long time, and he's an incredible coach. He's also just an awesome dude. He's one of my favorite guys to talk football with, no question. I also just think that such a precursor to success in the Big Sky is because I think pretty much every coach in the league is a good coach. Yeah. It's just a matter of how do you get there without being a good coach. How do you fit in the place that you're at, though? Like we were talking about Cal Poly. Like Bo Baldwin was one of the greatest coaches of Big Sky Conference history at Eastern Washington. He couldn't get it going at Cal Poly because it's a totally different formula. Nope. I think that there's a pretty understood dynamic with Cody Hawkins. Like I think people think, wow, he's doing a great job with not a lot at Idaho State, but what if that guy got this job or that job or one of these premier jobs? What the sky's the limit then, Absolutely. Right? But I do think that Plow is there's a couple coaches in the league that I think are just the slam dunk fits at their place, and Plow is such a slam dunk fit
because he went there also
at UC Davis. He's an alum, no question. Like Brent Vegan is so perfectly aligned for Montana State, like
especially coming off the back of Choate, right? Like just the perfect.
It's such a good juxtaposition. It's a great. I mean, it was just what they needed at the time. Yep. His sort of analytical, formulaic way of doing things helps because, I mean, it's an engineering school with a bunch of smart guys. So, they respond to his style of teaching and coaching, I think, too. I think that's a great fit. And that's what then I think makes this league this year so interesting is the two biggest question marks to me are two of the programs that are two of the best programs in the league that should be very good, but we don't really know where they're at in terms of the fit. Thomas Ford's going into year 2 at Idaho. Yeah. Year 1 was not good. I mean, he'd be the first one to tell you that. They were back-to-back Final 8, and then they won 4 games last year. Yeah, man. Not good. And then the other one is, of course, Bob Kennedy.
Yeah.
Like, how does Kennedy fit in, right? Like, everybody loves it right now. But how's it going? Like we were talking yesterday, how do you get your team to respond if things don't go the way that you maybe planned them to go? That's the most fascinating dynamic for sure to me for Idaho because they have such a tough non-conference schedule. But there's a similar dynamic with Montana because they certainly have the 3 non-conference home games that are going to be, I think people think slam dunk wins, but they also got the Oregon State game and they open at Davis for conference play. So there is a scenario there where they're just going to have a couple losses going into mid-October. Yeah. How does Bobby Kennedy pull them out of it? That's going to be the pivotal moment for them. For Idaho, how do they navigate that first 5 weeks? And can Ford be a guy that pulls them out of it if they go out and start 2-3?
Absolutely. A lot of questions. We will get the answers very soon.
No doubt. Samuel Kim, Coulter Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. All right, Saxon NFL. What do you think is the toughest division in the NFL right now?
NFC West. Yeah, you got the Rams, you got the Super Bowl champions, and you got the 49ers. I mean, it's a gauntlet, man. And I'm trying to think if I would say another division, but man, it's the NFC West.
I mean, if the AFC,
even the Rams and the Seahawks alone in that division
totally
make it tough.
If the AFC North actually had their teams live up to some of the hype.
Yeah.
Like last year, the Steelers were uncharacteristically mediocre. The Ravens were.
What do you mean uncharacteristically?
They've been
religiously barely over 500.
You're right. The last 8 to 10 years, Mike Tomlin has been. They've been 10. You're right. It's actually, in fact, characteristically, they've been 10-7 for 8 years in a row. I know. It warps my brain to think that Mike Tomlin was there for so long.
Yeah, right.
Like you think back, you're like, well, man, he went to the Super Bowl multiple times. He won a Super Bowl, and then you're thinking, you're like, well, that was 18 years ago that they won the Super Bowl. It's been a long time. You're right. It's characteristically mediocre. 10-7 has been Mike Tomlin's job for the last however many years. But the Ravens were disappointed last year. Yep. The Bengals were disappointing last year. And then the Browns
of those the first 2, Steelers and Ravens, both moved on from their coaches, too.
Exactly.
Because of that. Because they're a lot of talented. They're talented. They just can't get it done.
Yeah, so if those teams, all 3 were as good as they're supposed to be, that could be a division that's in the conversation with the West. I also think if the AFC West lives up to their billing, like Chiefs, if the Broncos can be as good as they were a year ago, if the Chiefs are back to being good and the Chargers just stay on their current trajectory, those 2 teams are all playoff teams. I think that's the thing, man. I think that the NFL, almost everybody's the same. And then it's just like, what quarterback do you have and what luck do you get?
Yeah.
Except the Raiders and the Browns. They're just bad. They're just bad. Like,
they're going to be bad.
They just don't have enough
Even the
organizational.
Panthers were able to get good.
At least okay, right?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I think organizational stability really is a necessity, and I don't know if the Raiders have even stability or vision or anything like that.
Yeah. What about the NFC East? Cowboys, Eagles.
Well, that's another one where everybody's got to step up, right?
Commanders.
Like, which will the real Philadelphia Eagles please stand up, right? Like, which version are we going to get? Are they going to be back to being Super Bowl contending good, or are they going to just be mediocre, can't do anything on offense? Who
you think
knows?
AJ Brown had something to do with some of the dysfunction?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, and I also just don't know where we're at with Sirianni. Like
they hate him, but they love him.
Exactly,
but that's Philly.
And that's the other part is when you're the Eagles, when you're riding the roller coaster, there's just so much emotion in that city. There's so much criticism. There's so much pressure. Yeah. Like, people are on you all over the,
He literally he talks to his fans like they're his biggest haters, which at times they are.
Right. But I mean, that division should be one of the better divisions in football, but all four teams have a chance to be massively disappointing. Yeah. Like, are the Giants actually going to be better? I don't know. You like to think so with John Harbaugh there, Jackson Dart going into another year.
I don't know. After seeing that speech from John Harbaugh, I'm like, those guys are not buying what he's selling.
Right. And then, then you talk about, like, I mean, the Cowboys are just. Until the Cowboys are not, they're just going to perennially disappoint.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is a Cowboys fan, but he had to cut ties because it's been your whole lifetime of them just.
Jerry Jones needs to relinquish the team.
Exactly.
Let him go, man.
Exactly. So, and for the Commanders, it's all about.
Are we going to get rookie Jaden Daniels?
Was the rookie Jaden Daniels? Is that real? Is that going to be what he was, or is he going to just be RG3 2.0? Like, is he just going to be busted up?
Did he win Rookie of the Year?
I think he did.
Wow.
And then last year, he got his arm turned upside down and backwards.
Man, yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, not good. But he also, let's not act like the arm injury was the reason. He was not playing well.
He was not playing nearly as well. And
the arm injury happened, but he wasn't playing well.
And that's my biggest question, too, right? Like, our good buddy Coach Marty Mornaway, he'll tell you, like, when you get to that 30-game mark as a quarterback, it's going to go like one of three ways. You're either going to keep on incrementally getting better, or you're going to hit a sophomore slump because people know how to defend you and like what your weaknesses are, or it's going to finally click for you and you're going to go to the stratosphere. You're going to go to the moon.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know where Daniels is at because it was such an uneven sample size. He was so great his rookie year, and then he was not playing well last year.
Took him to the NFC Championship game.
I mean, crazy, man.
It's insane.
And so sometimes, though, there's also like the element of luck, too.
Yeah,
right? I mean, like they won that game in Chicago on that Hail Mary at the very end. I mean, they had a couple wins where you're like, is this really a 12-win team, or did this team just steal 3 wins and they got to 12 even though they're like a 9-8 team?
You can say steal. But at the end of those games, they had more points than the opposition.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, the Denver Broncos won 13 games last year because they were able to figure out a way to win close games.
Yeah.
I mean,
did the Patriots make it if Bo Nix is healthy? That's another question.
Oh, man. See, we did that the other day. I love it. Samuel Kemp, Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. That to me is one of the biggest storylines in the AFC. The Patriots deserve all the credit in the world for winning 14 games last year.
Yeah.
But also, they went to the Super Bowl because the took a huge step back. Bo Nix breaks his ankle.
Leg.
Lamar Jackson, has a down year, and the Ravens are all the way sorts of banged up.
Josh Allen can't figure it out.
Josh Allen can't figure it out and get over the top. I mean, again, Patriots deserve all the credit for getting there, but they also had a whole bunch of other stuff in the conference go their way. And I mean, it took 7 dominoes for that to fall and for them to be the AFC champion. So it's a huge year for the New England. What are you bullish or bearish on New England? Are they going to be up to par? Are they a team that has a chance to regress?
I don't know. I want to say bullish. Is there a neutral option?
You think they might just be? I mean, I don't know. They're not going to win 14 games again.
No,
but they'll be a playoff team probably.
I think 10 or 11 wins.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's good.
I'd put their over under at 10.5.
Yeah, and I think they hit it by a half. They get 11.
There you go. Well, is that what's tonight ESPN Radio? Okay, buy-in or a little game of buy-sell here. It's proudly presented by Sportsbet Montana. Sportsbet Montana, has kiosks all across the great state of Montana. They also have an awesome app where you can track all your futures bets, all your division winners, all that sort of stuff. A lot of the division and Super Bowl and conference odds are up right now. So go check out Sportsbet Montana's app or check out kiosks all across the state of Montana. There's more than 550 of them. You can go on the website, find out. Just click where to bet, and you'll get your closest location. Buy or sell the Kansas City Chiefs?
Buy. Patrick Mahomes. It's like the Brady. When you start, you want to doubt Brady for as long as possible, but at some point you just get to the point where, like, if that guy's healthy, I'm buying.
Right.
If Patrick Mahomes is healthy, I'm buying.
Yep. I got to buy too, but I think it's about more than Mahomes.
Yeah.
They got to clean up the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They got to keep him upright. Like the restructuring of the offensive line 2 years ago is what sort of got him in this spot.
You got to phase out Kelsey.
I think
he's an Hall of Famer, but he is not Travis Kelsey
he's
from
not,
3-4 years ago.
Not even close, right? And you also have to lean into. I mean, you got Mahomes, but then most of your best personnel is actually on defense.
Kenneth Walker, though.
Yeah,
Super Bowl
Kenneth Walker
MVP.
is going to be interesting, man. Like, is he going to be able to replicate it, or does he got too many? I mean, he's had such a hard time staying healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everybody.
It was a wonder that he stayed healthy last year.
It totally was, but it is a good addition, certainly. Buy or sell the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks?
I'm buying, man.
Yeah.
Now, will Sam Darnold be as good as he was last year? Maybe not. And I don't expect them to repeat. If they do, great for them. But, like, I think they'll still be really good. Why? Because McDonald and that defense is freaking formidable, and they're just going to figure it. I mean, when you have a defense, I feel like that kind of shields a lot of the turmoil that may be going on offensively, and I think they'll be decent offensively. But they were built on the defense last year; they're going to be built on the defense again this year.
Well, and when you say they're not going to go back to back, that's just history talking.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, who's gone back to back in the last 35
Chiefs.
years? Chiefs,
Patriots,
Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, John Elway, and Troy Aikman. Those are the only guys that have gone back to back in the last in your entire lifetime. You know what I mean? Because unless you got Brady or Mahomes, you're just not going back to back. That's just what the NFL history tells us. And you can even go even beyond our lifetimes. I mean, you can go all the way back. It's been very hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls.
And Pat almost went 3 in a row, which is crazy.
In all the eras of the NFL, it's been very, very difficult.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm buying the Seahawks too. I was so skeptical of Mike McDonald and sort of his desire to move away from the history of the Seahawks. Like he took down all the Legion of Boom stuff at the facility.
Oh, yeah.
Like he didn't want to praise the Pete Carroll.
I mean, but when do you move on?
But he wanted it to be new, and I was like, this is going to go one way or the other. This is either going to work or it's going to make everybody mad, and he's going to be done real quick.
And
it worked.
Yeah.
So I sort of love his philosophies. Like he's had a couple clips this offseason that have gone viral where he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't care. And I believe it.
Yeah.
Like when they're asking him like these big picture NFL stories, he's
all
like,
ball.
I'm not worried about all these things you guys are talking about. I literally am just trying to coach my team.
He's all ball. I saw a quote like that before the Super Bowl. I can't remember when it was, but basically just that, like, I'm sorry, I do not care.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. Sorry. Yeah, he's a fascinating coach. All right, how about the Dallas Cowboys? The Cowboys are actually not as hyped as they have been in recent years.
No.
That might actually help them.
Yeah. Jerry Jones probably doesn't like that, but I'm buying, man.
Really?
CeeDee Lamb. They got Ryan Flournoy, a former FCS guy. Obviously, Dak. I mean, the thing is, Dak catches a lot of flack, but Dak, for how much flack he catches, he's the highest paid quarterback, maybe second highest now that Pat re-upped.
Yep.
He's making $60 million a year for a reason. Like, let's be very real about it. Dak is a very good quarterback. Now, does he show up when he needs to show up in the biggest moments? Maybe not. But Dak is a phenomenal quarterback, in my opinion. I'm buying the Cowboys. They got a lot of talent. They've always had a lot of talent.
They're always going to have a lot of talent.
They're always going to have talent. I don't know. They got a new defensive coordinator, so we'll see what they can do. But I'll buy the Cowboys.
I mean, you mentioned Flournoy. They also got Hunter Lepke, formerly of North Dakota State. So they do have a little FCS talent down there as well. To me, I think they're going to score enough points to be competitive.
Can they stop somebody?
They got figured out defensively. If you're going to have the dudes they got defensively, I mean, like Quentin Williams, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark.
Yep.
I mean, that's a nasty D line. That should be one of the best D lines in football, man. Like Malik Hooker in the secondary. Like they
just got
dudes.
Caleb Downs.
They got Caleb Downs. I mean, your boy Deron Bland. That's going to be a huge.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge piece of the Cowboys. They paid Deron Bland, who's a Sac State guy.
He has not been the same.
He has not been the same, man. They gave him $20 million plus, and he just hasn't been that guy. So
they need him.
It's a huge swing for.
And they don't have Diggs anymore. Huh? They let Diggs walk.
They let Diggs walk.
Yeah.
To me, it's the defense that they got to figure out, especially in that division too. I mean, the Eagles, regardless of if they have. It doesn't matter if the Eagles are getting along or not. It's still going to be a dogfight every time you play them because they just still do have a tough culture. So, and Dan Quinn is a toughness type of coach too in Washington. So, the Cowboys are going to have to raise their level in that area. They'll score enough points. Can they stop?
Think about that Giants game. Just like they let Russ throw for like 300 plus.
Right.
And they were both answering offensively. It's like, dude, just get one stop.
Yeah.
One stop.
Well, it's now watching that ESPN Radio. Colter Nuanez, Samuel Kim here from the Big Sky Kickoff. Talking a little NFL because we've already talked about Big Sky Conference stuff for about an hour. Well, we've been talking for about 3 days straight. But, about an hour on this show already. We have some more Big Sky Conference content coming up for you. But let's do just a couple more buy-sells here. Green Bay Packers. They had such a high watermark beating down the Cowboys in the playoffs. Jordan Love's first year. Then last year I think they kind of got eaten up by their own hype. Like they made the Micah Parsons trade, and then everybody said that team's winning the Super Bowl, and then he and everybody else on their team, it seemed like, got hurt last year, and then they just didn't live up to expectations. When you have like a top-heavy roster too, that we've seen this so often over the years. When you're one of the types of franchises that uses like the old Indianapolis Colts model, where you pay 5 to 7 stars, just like the Niners have been doing it the last handful of years. When 2 or 3 of those 5 or 7 stars get hurt, you don't got anybody else.
Yeah, right.
Like you can't pay Nick Bosa's backup very much money because you're already paying Nick Bosa so much money.
Yeah, top 3 paid at the position.
But that's kind of what the Packers got into last year too. When their premier guys would go down, it was so hard for them to.
I'm gonna sell.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell. I think the Packers are going to be – it's so hard because you pick some really good teams. So, like, you put me in a hard position. But I'm going to sell on the Packers just because who's their running back? Who do they have running the ball?
Josh Jacobs, but he got a bunch of trouble.
Josh Jacobs. So, I mean, they're very talented. It's very hard to sell. They let Romeo Doubs walk, but they just re-upped Christian Watson. Didn't Reed sign a new contract as well?
I think that's right, yep.
Both of them signed a new contract. They got Tucker Kraft coming back. They want to sign him to a new contract as well. They're talented. This is a tough one, but I'm going to sell on the Packers. Don't ask me to go any deeper than that.
How about San Francisco? My brother thinks San Francisco's window is closed.
Yeah, I'm going to sell on the Niners.
I'm wondering if that's true.
I'm going to sell on the Niners. Also, too, this may not matter, but we obviously know what just happened with Kyle Shanahan. That means a lot. Obviously, when your head coach is going through things, when there's things going on behind the scenes.
For those that haven't been following, you got a car accident. So
yeah. So how active is he going to be? I think he's obviously going to be around the team, but what does that do to everybody? I'm just going to sell on them. Also, like you said, like Brooks was saying, like the window for me feels like it's closed. I mean, they made multiple Super Bowls, couldn't get over the top. It just feels like that their time may be gone. I mean, Kittle dealt with injury. Surprisingly enough, the guy who's dealt with injury was healthy. Christian McCaffrey's been relatively healthy. So, I mean, I'm going to sell on the Niners.
Last one. I thought this was crazy for the preseason betting odds. The Rams are the betting Super Bowl favorite. That's not that crazy. The Buffalo Bills are second. It's not that crazy. Baltimore Ravens are third.
Jesse Minter? They believe in him?
I mean, first-year head coach. A quarterback that has not a ton of...
They thought Harbaugh was holding them back that hard?
I mean, I guess. I don't know. It might just be a line that's trying to bait the public because they know people are going to pour money in on Lamar Jackson or pour money away from Lamar Jackson.
There's nothing that tells me that the Ravens are going to be... I mean, there's nothing that says that they're going to be there at the end right now. I mean, I just feel like I really need to see them for the first couple of weeks to really make a decision on that. But, nah. Is that the team?
I mean, I don't know. I think the Ravens have a chance to be better than they were a year ago. But, I mean, a year ago they were a sub-500 team that blew it in their final regular season game against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
So, I'm selling on the Ravens too. I think the Ravens will probably be back in the playoffs, but I do not buy them as a.
I don't know if I give them playoffs, but the only reason I would give them playoffs is because I look at the rest of the division and I'm like, Them and the Bengals.
Yeah.
Like, the Steelers. I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah.
So I'm selling. But yeah, they'll probably make the playoffs. Looking at the rest of the division.
Back to the Big Sky on the other side. Samuel Kim, Colter Nuanez, Big Sky Kickoff. We'll give you some of the other broad storylines, including some of the loyalty that exists in the conference and what impact that might have on the league race. That's next. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
In honor of our great nation's 250th anniversary, Mattress Firm is having its biggest 4th of July sale ever. Save up to $1,000 off top-rated Tempur-Pedic, or save hundreds off Purple mattresses and premium adjustable bases. Save up to 50% on top-of-the-line mattresses, all backed by their 365-day guarantee. See store for details. It's their biggest 4th of July sale ever at your locally owned and nationally known Mattress Firm.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Samuel Kim, Colter Nuanez, kicking it. If you're watching the show and you see us coming to you from like a bunch of different angles, it's because we were piecing this together. We're recording. Sometimes we're up on the stage, sometimes we're down over here, sometimes. Yeah. So, you know, this is the traveling radio show at its best. But it's been fun being here in Spokane for media days. We came over a little early, got a bunch of the players yesterday, so that was fun. What was your main takeaways? I think we recorded with like 10 or 11 players, which, by the way, we'll have some of that stuff coming up next couple weeks here on Nuanez Now. What were some of your main takeaways just from hanging out with some of the best players in the Big Sky yesterday?
I don't know. These guys are just they all seem very team oriented, you know, and they all seem very. First off, they all seem very confident, which is good to see. But they all seem very team oriented, especially the Dowler brothers. Like, you know, obviously they have their own accolades to themselves, but they seem very, you know, locked in on team, Coach Vegan. You know what we got to do to get to the top. You know what we did last year doesn't matter. It seems like everybody's really hyper focused on. Getting to the top and being the best they possibly could be this season.
Most of these guys that are here, I would imagine at least got at least contacted probably by like group of 5 at least, you know, mid-major type schools, or maybe even Power 5s. I think a great number of these guys probably got contacted heavily by Power 5s. I mean, certainly guys like the Dowlers and Eli Gillen from Montana.
Yeah, Jordan Cook, Josh Wood.
I think your perception of that is spot on, because if you are choosing to stay in the Big Sky, you're choosing to do it for reasons that are beyond money and like the glorification of like the level that you're playing at, right? And I think that's the thing that came across to me is all these guys, I think, have really good perspective. Yeah, they all said, hey, I wanted to stay at where I'm at because, like, you know, we talked to Jordan Cook at Idaho State. He's like, we've been building, we've been climbing. Like, I want to get us to the playoffs. We haven't been in the playoffs in 25 years. I want to get us to the playoffs, you know. Or if you're, you know, the Dowlers, we gotta set the standard again and repeat as national champions.
Or think about Ty Pennington, right? Brian Wright brought me here. You know, he feels a level of, you know, loyalty to Brian Wright because he decided to bring me from Pitt State to NAU with him, and obviously it's been a really good marriage. But like, there's loyalty. People care about legacy. These kids matter. It feels like it matters where these kids are going to have to go home to when they go to homecoming, when they want to, you know, be celebrated. I mean, all of that stuff that we've talked about on multiple occasions. Seems like it really is ringing true for these guys these days.
Well, it's really refreshing. I think it's a great message for the rest of college football, because I do think the Big Sky is one of the only leagues where it has come back around, and now loyalty and things like that matter. I mean, we've been coming to this thing. You've been coming for 3 years now.
It's been new faces every year,
and I've been coming to this thing forever. And there was a couple year stretch there where it was like kind of depressing. Like, the only guys that were like the dudes that you wanted to cover and expected to see, and et cetera, were the guys from the Montana schools. But then you'd go up to Portland State's table or Eastern Washington's table or whatever. You'd be like, who are you? I don't even know who you are. Like, you're trying to get to know all these guys, but you know, even those schools, you know, like, I mean, Eastern Washington, Isaiah Perez, another guy, could have gone somewhere and he stayed. So it's a cool message for college football, certainly. Samuel Kim joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. We had a long sit down with the Dowler brothers. We'll play that for you a little bit later on this week or on this show. It's already up on YouTube as well, on both Sky Sports Channel and Sandy's channel as well, and we'll have it on our ESPN MT channel too. Just your impressions of those guys. I know you've covered them, you've analyzed them, you broke down their film, you talked to them individually, but that was fun having them on together. Yeah. The Twin Vibes is a unique thing, and they certainly play off of each other big time, so it was fun having those guys on. What did you think of just our sit down with those two?
They play with a chip on their shoulder, and they remember every single thing you said. And I absolutely remember, because I was talking to you when off air yesterday about how I had messed up somebody else's name, and to have Caden bring it up, and I remember doing a breakdown, and I had called him Camden, and then I remember a couple weeks later I called him Caden, and he was right. He was dead right to call me out on it. Like, you didn't know my name when I was when I was just Taco Dowler's brother. Right. All of a sudden I'm a Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year favorite, and you know my name. And I really appreciate that from players, because, you know, I was a guy, I never really was put in a position to kind of prove my doubters wrong. I was only able to prove them wrong on the field. But for him to really, you know, and they both play like that. We've talked about it before, about how, you know, and that's one of the things that stands out to me, is that chip that they play with, and you see it on the field, and they'll let you know about it. They are very soft-spoken. Soft-spoken in the media, and, you know, they're very team-oriented. They give credit to their coaches. They give credit to their teammates. They give credit to everybody. But at the end of the day, they're competitors, fierce competitors, and you see that in little points when you're speaking to them, when you have them on. Yeah,
it's fun. It's like an old school mentality to sort of keep the doubters in your mind. Like, keep receipts, right? Like, we're in Nashville last year, national championship game, and we're on the field taking videos, and these guys are celebrating and all this, and you know, I dapped it up with Paul Brott, said, man, it's been cool covering you since high school. Like, congratulations, whatever. And Caden Dowler, who's another Billings West kid, he rolls over, and I said congrats, and he's like, remember back on August 17th when
you didn't even remember it.
He's like, when you said on the radio that it was going to be hard to replace all those seniors, like, look what we did now. And I was like, bro, that is amazing that you remember that. I was like, I don't even remember that. And also, if I motivated you and that's what you needed to fuel yourself to become the Big Sky MVP, that's good for everybody. Like, and it was no hard feelings. He was just talking some smack, but pretty funny. And I'll never forget that because he was definitely on one, and they were just loving it, man.
Oh, yeah.
They love dropping the receipts, Dollar Brothers.
What's going to drive you, though? I always talk about that with guys, these young kids in college and in high school. Like, what is your why? What's going to drive you? What's pushing you when you are having a hard day at practice, when you're having a hard day in summer workouts? Like, what is that thing that you think about in your mind, that thing that you can reference, that's going to get you over to that next hump, that's going to get you to that next step, that's going to get you to do one more rep, that's going to get you to run hard through the line one more time? I mean, all of that matters, and these guys got it, man.
And then we got a chance to catch up with Eli Gilman as well, who's the preseason Offensive Player of the Year. Again,
you see the growth in him.
No surprise that he's the reigning Offensive Player of the Year from last year, and you can definitely see the growth in him, man. It's been fun to watch. He is not a guy that loves being in front of the camera.
Absolutely
He's a very shy guy. He's a very humble guy. But he talked about it on our interview yesterday. He said, I understand now that, like, I'm going to get the attention, and so I had to become comfortable with this.
Yeah.
But he was, and it was a good interview. It was fun hanging out with him, and I keep on going back to it because they were playing all the highlight films of all the guys yesterday. I was just watching his highlight film, and I'm like, man, I really hope Montana fans are appreciating what they got. Because this dude is as consistently exciting as any player I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
He is an unbelievable talent, and the Grizz are so lucky to have him.
I thought it was pretty cool how he mentioned how, and I kind of talked about, my personal experience of, like, wishing I would have been a little bit more vocal my senior year, realizing that there's nobody there anymore that's going to give those speeches.
Who's going to fire us up? Oh, it's me.
It's you. And he said he's kind of started to realize that, and it makes me happy to hear him say that, because it's like, it's kind of a maturation period of every guy through their college career, especially if you're that guy like Eli has been. Like, people start to look around, and he mentioned on the interview, like, hey, they're getting the break, and like everybody's kind of just looking at him like, okay, Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year, okay, All-American, okay, first team. Like, you're the guy, you're the one who we're expecting to give this speech. And I thought it was really cool to see, just because I think if you've been around Eli throughout his career, he's kind of a soft-spoken guy. He definitely gives you the vibe that he's more of a lead by example rather than lead by, speaking. And to hear him say that, that's something that he's had to grow into is really cool to see, man.
Grizz had 3 guys land on the preseason All-Big Sky team. Gilman was joined by Peyton Wing, who was a preseason All-American, as well as Jake Mason, who's an up-and-coming defensive lineman. I think he has a chance to have a great year. Bobcats dominated the list. They had 11 guys on there. Taco Dollar was a selection 3 times over, wide receiver, power returner, and all-purpose player. Justin Lampson, the quarterback. And then all the big boys up front that got accolades as well. Titan Fleischman, Burke Mastel, and on the offensive line, Jack Cruz on the defensive line. So no surprise, but still 11 guys on the preseason first team, and that's why you're the consensus pick to win the league.
Absolutely. I mean, we've said it all off season. The media agrees, because that's who voted on the preseason all-conference list. They have the most. They have the best team top to bottom.
Sure.
From the quarterback position, from the receiver position, from the running back, offensive line. Look at the defense. All through the defense, they got a ton of talent. Even guys who weren't on those lists, we both know they've got a ton of talent of guys who weren't even on these lists. And they're going to be a threat to everybody they play this year, and people are going to have to pack their lunch pail anytime they play the Bobcats this season.
Speaking of receipts, don't you think that Kaylee Ayat's probably keeping that receipt? With
my gosh! Only one quarterback on the. And the funny thing about that is,
Ayat probably cut that thing right out of the press release and put it in the back of his locker.
Gosh! The funniest thing about that, now obviously it was voted on before the national championship game, but if you remember, Ayat was the first team all-conference quarterback in the Big Sky Conference. Lampson was second team. Now you're saying. He had a good playoff run, and but what changed so much? So I'm sure the receipts are certainly going to be there for Ayat this season.
Well, it's now 109 ESPN Radio. Samuel Kim, Coulter Nuanez live from the Big Sky Kickoff in Spokane. We'll come back to you on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here.
Larchmont Golf Course.